Hello English 10, this is Miss Long, and we are now down to the last 2-3 weeks of school. So I hope that this video finds you doing well. I know it's a really crazy time of year, and I want to be able to support you in any way possible as you're wrapping things up. My impression from what I've read is that you guys are enjoying your books and hopefully getting a lot out of them. And things will come together in our final session of the unit as you create your own blog post about your book and explain why your book is important, why it's worth reading. So just want to move toward that direction with some familiar activities this week. We'll be doing a weekly journal, the Wiktionary like you've been doing, collecting more additional quotes, and having a discussion about how your book is relevant in our world. So about 120 points worth of assignments this week, very similar to what you've been doing previously. Your main task, of course, is to continue reading your books, and at this point I would imagine you're getting to the point where it's getting harder to put your book down. So that's probably a good thing. Your weekly journal. This week I'd like you to think specifically about how your book relates to your life, how your book characters maybe connect with you or the situations are familiar. This is really your text-to-self type of connection, and that's what I'd like you to write about in this week's journal. Again, please collect 2 words that you think are relevant. I've been very impressed, actually, at how you're picking out words that really are the kinds of words a teacher might put on a list of words for students in high school, the kind of words that you might see on standardized testing, ACTs, SATs, that kind of thing. You're picking out very useful words that will help you in academia and moving into the adult world of literature. So continue doing that with your Wikipedia this week and continue finding quotations. Again, you guys are doing a great job. In some cases, probably seeking some outside help in identifying important quotations, but really anything that you can explain as connected to other texts or yourself or the world would make a great quotation. The final discussion this week concerns literature and how that literature is related to our modern world. We might ask, how is it that these books written 20, 30, 40, 10, 50, 100, 200 years ago could possibly relate to a world of cell phones and instant messages and internet and drones and all of the things that technology has brought us? And so I really want you to stop and think about that by finding some type of text that relates to either the subject of your book or the theme of your book. So for example, bullying is increasingly a concern in our schools. How does The Lord of the Flies speak to that? If you're reading about these boys stranded on an island and how their interactions change, what does this text have to do with bullying today? Or, for example, if you're reading Frankenstein and you're discovering what technology can do in kind of a life-giving manner, well, think about the fact that increasingly in our society, we have different body parts being replaced and knee replacements. We have artificial organs that could be introduced. Well, how does Frankenstein speak to that? Similarly, we have a gap between the rich and the poor today. And if you've been reading Gatsby and quoting some of those great quotes about social class, well, you might think that Gatsby does apply, as we have a huge disparity between the incomes of CEOs and their workers. Lastly, as an example, our smartphones track absolutely everything we do. It's a little freaky sometimes how much of our lives are recorded digitally in someone else's control. How does 1984 speak to that? So you're finding some type of article or blog or opinion post that pertains to a modern societal issue, a world connection, and explaining how that relates to the book that you have chosen. And that will be your final discussion for this session and I think the year, because your final discussion will be your blog. So think about how your book is related to an issue that we are dealing with in our modern society, and you'll be sharing on that. And that will wrap things up for this session. Again, our final project for the unit is for you to write a blog post on why your book is important. Of the 1,000 or so books you might read in your life, why this one? What's great about it? How does it connect to our world? So be thinking about that. 2 weeks left to go, and with any questions, be sure to chat with me, help me stay in touch, and I can help you make a plan if you need to kind of focus in this last session. So be in touch and have a great week. Hope you're enjoying your books.